Okay, on Corel, again, if you hold the Alt key, you can, select through objects in the stack, but you can also select one of the objects of the stack and press the Tab key, and it'll cycle through the objects in that stack. So, but let me draw something else outside of the stack to see. Okay, so, we'll jump around though, and that's what that guide doesn't show, because I knew about the Tab key jumping around every object in the stack. But now you can press, like, if you're trying to select multiple objects in a stack, how do you do that? Well, you can do it here because of the fact that they're available. But if they weren't available, you can press, hold down Shift, to add to your selection. So I mean, let's say I wanted to select that, and I wanted to select more than one object, like that top one. But if I hold down Alt when I make these selections, I was able to select all three of those. So that gives you an idea of how that can be used. The Alt key is referred to as the digger, but you can do Control A and select everything too. And Shift Tab, actually selects the previous object by default. So you can, just like Tab, because I can just select Tab, without having anything selected, and it'll just start selecting. But you can go backwards, with Shift Tab, just like you'd kind of expect if you think about it. Okay, now of course in CorelDraw, if you draw a marquee like that, it'll select everything. It won't select anything if you don't fully encompass it like that. But if you hold down the Alt key, then it'll actually select everything that the marquee touches. So, and you can also, when you're holding the Alt key, you can actually drag the marquee like that, whereas normally you couldn't. It would drag the damn box, which kind of gets on my nerves. But that will, select the green box and every other thing across. Okay, when you're adding fonts, in a document, you got a lot of fonts to work with, and you go up here and my God, it's a huge list. You want to find a font you've already selected. The best way to do that, is you come over and right click on this and go Show Document Fonts, and then when you basically add a font, it'll only show you the fonts you use in your document. So, that really helps narrow it down quite a damn bit. Okay, now here's something I used to use quite a damn bit back in 2006. If you press Control D to make a copy of something, it's duplicate, and you can find it in the menu up here. And then you reposition the first copy. You can press Control D again, and it'll keep making copies in that same direction. If you go select it in the menu alone, you can go Edit, Control Duplicate. And it'll do the same thing. But the thing about it is, the first time you do it, the first time I did it, it brought up a menu dialog box, but it's not doing that anymore. So I want to show you that, but I guess it doesn't do it consistently. Now these aren't clones or anything, so just keep that in mind. So, damn it. What the? God damn it. But you do have the ability to make clones. However, you don't have a shortcut key when you clone it, so, I mean, apparently you can only make a clone once. If you go try to clone a clone, it won't clone it. So, but, I can make multiple clones that way. Now, a clone should actually reflect the properties of it. See? So, because that's an actual clone, so if I change it one place, it changes it everywhere else. Now, in theory, I can make a clone, of more than one object. know, if I go like change the color, you know, of one, it changes the color of the other. Change the size, it changes the size. So anyway, that's just something to keep in mind. And you got to step and repeat too. So you know, which I know about the one in the menu. Now in the past, you know, I used to have this menu light out because I had one of these over here too on the left, and that might be a good idea to do that because I've got this so crowded. It's just hard to, you know, it's hard to arrange, you know, and given the orientation of most drawings, it's fine to work with. Okay, there we go. Okay, I don't like it there though. I don't know, I might be stuck with it being here though. It's no big deal. But, you know, but anyway, that, you know, does get rid of some of the congestion here. But, you know, I can pull the tabs off, okay, to pull an item out, and then, I don't know if I can, yeah, there we go. Put it down there. And so now I got my color palette, which I actually usually like this over here. So I'm going to have to go put this back over here so that I can take the transformation thing and put it over here instead. So you just look for that little line under there. But, you know, like I said, this to me would work pretty good. And then I can go put this one right down there, you know, back where I like it. And that way, you know, you do have your other tabs available, but, you know, this gives you more of a complete palette, and you can set it to hide if you want. So I just know that's how I used to have my Corel set up, but when I copied the interface, I wasn't able to do it like that. So anyway, I mean, it didn't transfer in, you know, from the other, my Hewlett-Packard for some reason. I don't know why. But of course, you know, that was on X3 and this is X5, but still it didn't transfer in. Now the step and repeat menu item too just gives you your old step and repeat, which I use this a lot, you know, for like business cards and doing layouts where I got to specify an exact position. So, you know, and select number of copies, etc. So, I mean, it's a nice handy tool as well if you want to do repeats. Now, of course, since that was a clone that I repeated, you know, you can change the colors of all of them at the same time. So, and don't forget about using your booleans to do trims and so forth, just like I did here. So you can choose one and the other, and it'll usually fucking do that because it's a piece of shit. But that leaves my original there. Then you can also create symbols, you know, symbol 2, and then I can go, I don't know if I can do anything with it. Yeah, then you go, you know, symbol manager, you know, which I got docked over here now. You know, you can select a symbol and go insert symbol, and it will insert a symbol. So that allows you to save, you know, symbols basically. There's unused definitions, but like I said, you know, if you go down to symbols over here, yeah, you can edit, you know, revert, export from library. So, you know, if you go into edit symbol, it'll actually edit the symbol definition. So, now symbols, you know, appear in blue boxes, you know, which, you know, they can still be scaled and everything, but you can you know, a symbol, revert to objects, and that'll actually make them, that basically breaks them apart. So, but the edit thing, I don't know. I didn't know how to, how to edit the symbol. And get out of it. Okay, well, the only way to do it, I mean, if you wanted to like change some parts about it, you can go, of course, symbol, finish editing symbol. Okay, and that changes the actual symbol itself. So, since we broke this one apart, that doesn't apply. So anyway, just something to keep in mind. Went ahead and rearranged a few things. So, if your symbol manager here, and put these things over here, because I probably won't use them much, so I can just kind of leave them on color. Leave this on color. Then I got your main object properties and lens effects, envelopes, and step and repeat over there. So this gives us our range of, oh, that's weird. Oh, it's a symbol, that's why. Because it's our standard, transforms and so forth, I guess. Or, well, just object properties. Our transforms are over here, which normally I have them over there.